Good morning. It's 25th of April. We are in what's called Hallowed Pesach in Israel. That's the essentially the days that we don't eat bread, etc., etc., etc. Some of you are Jewish, you know what I mean. Others of you who are not Jewish, well, you can just look it up. The situation around the world, and especially in America, is a very interesting situation. Let me explain something to you. I fought in Vietnam, and was it a just war, an unjust war? Well, soldiers don't ask these questions when they go out to defend their country, because if they do, they're not going to be very good soldiers. So the question arises, why do we fight? Well, the college students, who are in many cases the sons and daughters of the college students that spit on us when we came home from Vietnam, have decided that, well, basically, that we are war criminals. They've decided that we committed acts of war against the innocent Palestinian people in Gaza. They don't mention the fact that these innocent Palestinian people in Gaza actively went to the streets to support the rape and the dismemberment and the killing of Jewish men, women, and children and babies, and the captivity of them now for 6 months of rape and torture. Of course not. Now, why is that? First of all, Palestine is not a free society. To protest against their hero soldiers who killed women and children would mean that they would be taken out and executed. Of course, you college students out there in America don't understand that. We believe that there are, actually, like the Catholics believe, there's a sins of commission and sins of omission. So what we have here is the Palestinian people who remained silent during all of this are as guilty as the murderers that murdered our men, women, and children. Now, that sounds rather harsh, doesn't it? Well, a generation ago, they said anybody that supported the war in Vietnam were guilty of the same thing. They were guilty of believing that the murder of the men, women, and children in the Vietnam population uh, was one of the indications that America was bankrupt. And now their sons and daughters and granddaughters and grandsons are doing the same against Israel. Now, it's interesting that well, not all, but many, many Jewish students were out there saying, hell no, against the war. They won't go. And when we came back, they spit on us and treated us like dirt. And now the Palestinians and are saying basically, no, the Jews are dirty because the Jews that support Israel are just as guilty in the genocide as the Israeli Jews. And therefore, they are a persona non grata on the universities. Isn't that interesting? Some of them are the children of the Jews that supported ending the war in Vietnam, and now they're finding that their children are being ostracized if they dare say one word in favor of Israel and one word asking for understanding why Israel's at war. Okay, I've been through this. I remember this. And now, once again, we are being accused as Jews, not as Israelis, as Jews of somehow being basically as evil as any Jew that fights against Gaza. So make up your mind. Are you Jewish? If you're Jewish and you do not support the war in Gaza and you think we're committing genocide, well, you know what I think about people like you. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Christian community. The Christian community in America basically is silent. They're being dumbed down by the radicals in the universities. And the radicals in the university is just as bad as our radicals were. They support the monsters that killed our people. The Christians support Israel, but they will not protest against the protests in the universities because they learned their lesson from the Vietnam War, right? It's interesting. So in the end, we have a situation here where we stand alone against Hamas, Nazis, just as the Jewish people were alone against the German Nazis. And there's no difference. Both were Amalek, in other words, both were out to destroy the root of the Jewish people, destroy the Jewish people entirely. And this time, of course, as last time, the world doesn't see it as anything other than a just cause against the Jews, because your anti-Semitism around the world, it seems like babies are nursed on their mother's tit with anti-Semitism still after all the lessons, after all that's going on. Well, Israel is going to have to make a decision. If Israel bends the knee and doesn't go into Rafah, as you people call it, it's called Rafiq, by the way. Rafah, oh my God, Rafah. We might go into Rafah and stop the Hamas from coming back to kill us in another year or two. If we go into Rafah, we'll be doing genocide. Yeah, and guess what? We may not go into Rafah, and if that happens, they'll commit genocide against our people, because that's the way the Middle East works. Those who do not understand this will understand it. Those who do not learn from history will relive it. So at the present time, my beloved America, for the second time, has turned their back on me when I came back from Vietnam, and me for living in Israel. Well, thank you, America. Thank you very much. And listen, if you guys don't get off your ass and put these students down, most of whom are Palestinians, by the way, and they're stupid as dirt, then basically it's going to spread like a contagion, like the bubonic plague spread by rats. And these rats will inflict the entire society in America. So have a great day, huh? And let's hope that America will wake up before it's too late.